but doesn't show which amount of money was used to acquire them. Quoting her father saying, to date, an exhaustive list of all recipients of the dirty money remains unknown to all the party members except Nandala Mafabi, the party secretary general. Without digging further to establish the truth about the source and spending of the dirty money, the committee failed in its assignment ab initio, she said in a statement released on Sunday. Nyajura further pointed out that there is a failure to observe the laws of natural justice, not giving Dr. Bestie a hearing about the dirty money before the committee meeting, ignoring to include the reason for the resignation of the party's vice chairman Tugume Stanley Katembria, and showing no proof of investigation on the expenditure of the dirty money, among other things. She tasked elders to embark on wide consultations with the membership of the party while imploring the Dogi leaders to do thorough soul searching. Quoting her father saying that it does not matter how far you have traveled in the wrong direction, as long as you realized it and retrace your steps and move in the right direction. Now, according to the report, the FDC Elders Committee tasked with investigating allegations of top party officials receiving dirty money from President Museveni cleared the FDC Secretary General Nandala Mafabi and Patrick Oboya Muriat, the party president, of the accusations. The committee found that Dr. Kiza Besige, the FDC founding president and whistleblower, failed to present sufficient evidence to support the allegations. Now, according to the report presented to the National Council on July 28th, Dr. Kiza Besige expressed concern about money kept at his home by Mafabi in September 2021. However, the FDC is within its rights not to disclose the source of its finances as provided in the party constitution and practices right there. Currently, the Forum for Democratic Change seems to be divided over this dirty money that has been disclosed by the founding president of All right, dear viewer, we do apologize for that technical glitch right there for you, and so we shall be able to let you continue with the show right here. We do apologize for the technical glitch right there for you, dear viewer. You're still watching Westnile Television, KOKOLIRIKO Live, and my name is Denis Oringi, and I'm here to make sense of some of the stories that are making headlines in our country, Uganda. Away from the Forum for Democratic Change saga, you have to know that the members seems to be disgruntled as I talk right now. The camps seem to be divided into two. That is the camp of the party president now, Patrick Oboya Muriat, together with Nandala Mafabi, the party secretary general, and then the other side we see the camp of the Lord Mayor for Kampala, capital city, Erias Lukwago, together with that is the party spokesperson, Honorable Semujing Nganda, who is the member of parliament for Shira municipality, and then we have seen also the deputy Lord Mayor for Kampala joining their camp, and it seems that the camp of Semujing Nganda, who is the party spokesperson, seems to have gotten in connection with the founding president, that is Dr. Kiza Besige, right there. So we wish them well. People gang raped in Chibuku. This is another sad story right there, that a child was gang raped in Chibuku is what you need to know. Is another story that is quite heartbreaking. People still have that a mentality of gang raping people. Moreover, a pupil of a primary school. It is quite unfortunate, and we cannot continue to have this kind of behavior being exhibited in our country, Uganda. It is quite unfortunate, and I believe that those that have gang raped this pupil, they have been arrested. This is what I believe. And so 2 people is also drawn in Luero Dam is also another sad one that is coming through the other side of this country. And then woman husband hacked to death over land is another sad story right here, that a woman and her husband hacked to that is death is quite unfortunate right there for you. And then for Uganda People's Defense Forces, then FADREX killed 3 ADF rebels in Democratic Republic of Congo. This is also another story that you should be able to know about from the Daily Monitor this morning. And then Buganda celebrates 30 years since Kabaka's coronation is also another story that we have right there. Thousands of Ugandans on Monday thronged the palace grounds of country's largest kingdom, Buganda, defying rain as they danced and elated to mark 30th years since the coronation of King Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II, dressed in traditional attire with the men wearing a white tunic called a kanzu and women donning bitenge dresses. The revealers prayed for the 68-year-old monarch whose ancestors ruled a region that includes Uganda, modern-day Kampala capital. And then as the sound of the royal drums reverberated, the king wearing the customary ceremonial attire of a leopard skin and cloth made from the tree back waved to the crowd, while a supporter hoisted him onto his shoulders. And so it was a happy moment for the Buganda Kingdom subjects as they celebrate a 30th coronation anniversary for the Kabaka of Buganda right there for you. And so happy celebrations to the Bugandas as they celebrate the 30th, the 30th coronation anniversary right there for you. And so that is what you need to know. And so we continue to pray for them. May they be well. And so this year, I think for Alur Kingdom, it will be the 14th coronation anniversary for the King of Alur Kingdom, His Royal Highness Obimo Philip Olarke Rauni III. This will be in the month of October, November, right there. And so we shall be waiting for the communication that will be made. The Central Organizing Committee. We are already in the month of August. For your information, if you do not know, so last year the President of the Republic of Uganda was the chief guest for the coronation anniversary. Right there for you was the guest of what I mean. And so that is what you need to know. And so for Alur Kingdom, I think the preparations are underway, and so we shall keep you updated of the coronation anniversary of His Royal Highness Obimo Philip Olarke Rauni III, and this will be in the month of either October or November. It will depend on the situation and the resources that will be mobilized right there for you. And so that is something I felt it's important that I should also be able to bring to your attention. Me and the Kingdom, I think we are one, and thanks a lot to those who have really empowered me to really get closer to the Kingdom. I really appreciate, and I continue to implore other subjects of Alur Kingdom, please let's contribute towards supporting our Kingdom and also supporting our King, the King of Alur Kingdom, His Royal Highness Obimo Philip Olarke Rauni III. As one of the subjects, I'll continue to pay my allegiance to the Kingdom, and I continue to really promote the Kingdom that I belong to. It is good to have where to belong. It is something that I treasure most. And for those who do not treasure, I also challenge you to treasure, because that is your root and you cannot run away from that. And that is what I felt it important that I should be able to bring to your attention. And remember, when we talk about the 30th coronation of the Kabaka Muwenda Mutebi II, we cannot forget about what happened in 2009. For those who can really remember vividly, I can remember by that time I was still in school. What happened in Kampala, the authorities closed down in the Buganda Road radio station CBS for a year, accusing its broadcasters of inciting hatred after people loyal to the monarch begin rioting in Kampala over the government's decision to restrict his movement within the Kingdom. Then at least 27 people died during the anti-riot operations conducted by the security services right there in Kampala. And so this happened in in 2009, and I cannot forget what we really witnessed. The Bush War that brought Museveni to power in 1986 was successfully largely due to Uganda's support, is what also you need to know is some historical fact that you cannot fail to mention. So many in Buganda despised Museveni's rival, former President Milton Obote, because he outlawed tribal kingdoms and forced the Kabaka into exile. And so because President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni came in 1986, the Bagandas were able to give more support to President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni because they termed, the former President Apollo Milton Obote for outlawing the tribal kingdoms, and forced their Kabaka into exile. And because of Museveni's coming, the Bagandas gave full support to really make President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni becomes the President of the Republic of Uganda. And so their contributions towards President Museveni's stay in power can also not just be left unabated and talked to and discussed. And so these are some of the historical facts that you need to know as we really continue to discuss political, cultural and religious issues in our country, Uganda. And so in Uganda, history, political history connects to religious history as well. And for those who do not know, get interested, and you'll be able to understand the history of our country, Uganda, and the contribution, the traditional, institutions and also the religious institutions have contributed towards the politics of this country, and we cannot just keep quiet and we don't talk about that. And so both religious institutions and the cultural institutions in this country contributed a lot to the political history of this country, Uganda. And so we cannot run away from those facts, that without the religious institutions we have in this country, we will not have the political history that we are talking about now, because you have to get back to the 1887 to the 1889, the religious war in Uganda, and what contributed to some of the turmoil that we experienced in our country, Uganda, before the independence of this country. And so we also have to recognize the contributions of those missionaries who came to our country, Uganda, and their contributions towards setting up the nation that we have now, that is called Uganda. And so we continue to recognize them and also appreciate them for the work well done, and we also rebuke them for some of the atrocities that were committed. And so we cannot just keep quiet over certain things that happened in the past, because I have been told that history can shape the present and the present can shape the future, and the history can also help to shape the future as well. And so we cannot talk about the future without talking about history, and we cannot talk about history without talking about, we cannot talk about the present day without talking about what happened in the past. And so there are events that contributed to the current state that we do have. So when we talk about peace and security, we cannot forget about what happened in the past in regards to issues that we experienced as a country. And so that is some of the facts that you need to know, and I cannot just keep quiet, and I can't really keep silent and not update you about that, because they're very important in determining what happens in the future. As I always challenge people who think that politics is only for those who are in leadership. Politics is for all of us, and we can get interested to understand the history and the issues to do with politics of this country, Uganda. It's important that we get to read event after event, and they inform us of what will happen tomorrow in future as we do talk right now. Fishing gear worth 656 million destroyed in Bujende. This is another story that you need to know, that fishing gear worth 656 million have been destroyed in Bujende district. Right there. Self-testing tools to boost women's reproductive health is another thing that you need to know, that is a little bit very serious. And then the Kamuli gets rain after burying horn bill is also another funny story here. Traditions sometimes also play a very great role. After a horn bill unusually went silent for 3 weeks, residents of Nabirama zone, Butanasi sub-county in Kamuli district mounted a frantic search for the bath believed to be a rainmaker, but found it dead. And so the residents last week recognize a decent burial for the Hornbill suspected to have been, electrocuted along Kahugu Namasagali Road. And so during the burial, they bought a 3-meter, backload, 3 pieces of burial cloth, slaughtered 3 black goats and 3, cocks. To bury this, hornbill that they believe was the one contributing to the rain that they were receiving in Kamuli right there. And so Kamuli is found in Busoga region. It's something that you need to know. And so these people still have a strong tradition, and so they believed in the hornbill that they found dead, and they decided to accord it a very decent burial for it, because they really believe that they have lost a hornbill that used to really, give them information and was able to tell their fortune and misfortune. And so that is something that you need to know right there for you. And so that is what we have for you this morning. Let's go for a break, and when I come back, I will be diving into what we have in the new vision before I sign out of the studio and leave in the hands of the Yolaza that will be coming at exactly 9 a.m. right here on Westnile Television. Good morning, my name is Denis Oringi, and it is KOKOLIRIKO Live on Westnile Television.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
A brand new Global Star TV with StarTimes Inside Technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTimes antenna and satellite signal. With StarTimes Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTimes highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
And thank you very much for joining us. I'm glad you're still watching Westnile Television. My name is Denis Oringi. 27 minutes to the top of the hour of 9 a.m. right here on Westnile Television. I do not know what your watch is telling you, but mine is telling me that 27 minutes to the top of the hour of 9 a.m. right here on Westnile Television. Let us dive into some of the stories we have in the new vision this morning. And you have to know here, the Forum for Democratic Change postpones internal party election. It's another story that has really featured here. And so you got for the FDC members, you have to know that the internal party election has been suspended, and that is what you need to know. And so we are waiting to hear when will the internal party elections will be conducted right there for you. And so Forum for Democratic Change Party has announced it is carrying forward its internal elections that were set to start this month, July, and so last month. Now, according to the party's chairperson, Ambassador Waiswa Birigwa, Forum for Democratic will will inform members of new agreed dates in due course. He says the decision of the postponement was arrived at after he received from across the country numerous complaints complaints of a lack of preparedness and competencies of their electoral management team. And quoting him saying that it is on the basis of the petition that I exercise my powers as party chairman in the best interest of the party to postpone the elections until the National Council sitting, here today determine what kind of elections it wants in order to have a vibrant and competitive party. And this according to Birigwa. Birigwa made the announcement during the National Council special sitting at the party's headquarters in Najanakumbi, Kampala, and that was on Friday, right there for you. So according to the electoral roadmap released early this month by the party's electoral commission, Wilberforce, that is Terebuka Bamwenda, the election of the leaders from the grassroots to the national level was set to start on July 21st, 2023 to September 1st, 2023. Now, according to Terebuka, they expect to hold elections in 71,230 villages, 10,595 parishes, and then 211 sub-counties and 353 constituencies of Uganda. However, these elections could not take place as their commencement dates coincided with an outbreak of a series of wrangles in the party. And on July 18th, at a hastily arranged media briefing held at Sharing Hall in Zambia and Kampala, FDC spokesperson, who is also Shira Municipality Member of Parliament, Ibrahim Semunyunganda, accused FDC Secretary General Nathan Nandala Mafabi and FDC Party President Amuria Toboi of trying to sell the party to the ruling National Resistance Movement Party under President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And so this is a brief that you need to know on the reason, excuse me, that the party has postponed its internal elections that they're supposed to have last month. And so Kampala man faces prison over rejected love advances is another thing that you need to know. Is quite a little bit a bizarre story here. You need to know here that unrequited love, we have all been there, haven't we? I know most certainly have, and hope for requited love drives many to ridiculous extremes sometimes. And so this is something that you need to know, as it has been written by that is the L.A. Newmark in the book of the Unholy Mischiefs. Says unrequited love does not die, it is only only beaten down to a sacred place where it hides and cuddled and wounded. So however, Faisal Kaseire, 26-year-old, a bricklayer, refused to let his love be beaten down to a sacred place after allegedly being rejected by a married woman he had been dating for a while. Kaseire, a bricklayer, attempted suicide and is now facing prison time over attempted suicide. The resident of Kazinga Nsubi Nansana in Wakiso district, who is receiving treatment at Mulago Hospital in Kampala, is said to have been served by Shebando police after allegedly setting himself on fire with paraffin after being rejected by a married woman and mother of three, Nale Namukula. Addressing the weekly joint a security briefing at the police headquarters at Naguru in Kampala on Monday yesterday, police spokesperson Fred Enanga said Kaseire is being guarded by the territorial police in Kampala Metropolitan North and Nansana Division and will be arraigned in court as soon as he is discharged from the hospital. And so the facts gathered indicate that Kaseire had been stalling Namukula for several years with the full knowledge that she is married to Michael Senabulia. It is alleged that on July 23rd, 2023, at about 11 p.m., his advances were again rejected by Namakula, who was in the company of her other two friends at a meeting point bar, Namakakumu, where they had gone to watch a music show. And so after the show, the woman boarded a Boda Boda at about 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. and returned to her home. Now, Enanga said, surprisingly, the following day, July 24th, 2023, residents have found the Kaseire had poured on himself paraffin and set himself, on fire to kill himself because Namakula had rejected his love. And so this is another bizarre story. Yeah, we cannot run away from this. It happens in a society. As I did mention earlier on yesterday, that if we only concentrate in empowering the girl child and we leave out the boy child, these are some of the stories that we continue to, to get from the, from the boy child, because they're not properly empowered. So we continue to empower the young girls and we forget about empowering the young boys, and this makes these young boys not to have sense of direction in their life, and they end up trying to commit suicide. It's quite unfortunate that he will be taken to prison because of attempted suicide that he really attempted to commit right there. It's quite unfortunate. We pray for him that he recovers and he will be able to learn some lessons from his actions that he was able to really portray right there for you. And so that's quite unfortunate. And so to the young boys that we do have, we still have young girls who are growing up. Take time. Your time will come and you will be able to enjoy what you want to enjoy when your time is not yet right for you to enjoy. Ugandans should brace for increased heat is also another story that you need to know. We are talking about climate change as we do talk right now, and so the other time, the stakeholders in Nebi, they were able also to talk about the climate change we are talking about. And so if you are to go to Nebi right now, I do not know whether the weather has changed, because over the weekend I was in Nebi, and the experience that I had was a little bit funny. The sun heat and dust being generated by heavy wind that blows at any time during the day, and so you find sand is everywhere, dust everywhere, and this is as a result of the climate change that we do talk about. And so it's our responsibility to contribute towards changing the current climate that we are really experiencing, harsh weather condition, and Ugandans should brace for increased heat is what experts are really telling us as we talk right now. Instead of dressing fully from neck to toe, she has resorted to dressing halfway whenever carrying out any house chores is what you need to know. In the past 3 weeks, Sarah Bugembe has had to leave her bedroom with the windows open throughout the night. The aim is to allow in the fresh air as she and her household catch some sleep is what you need to know. And so I know in the past 2 weeks, I think I have also experienced the same, especially during the time that the region has been able to experience drizzles and also change of weather that we are currently having. Yesterday the weather was a little bit very different, right from morning up to evening time, and so we never had scorching sun heat. The weather was just, I think, moderate. The room temperature was a little bit fairer, and so we should really prepare to receive heavy downpours anytime from now, because we are in another month, the month of August, and always in the month of August we always receive heavy downpours. This is something that we should really prepare to receive at any point in time, and so that is what you need to know. But meanwhile, in other regions and also in other areas that we do have in West Nile, they still continue to experience intense heat, that the temperature seems to be affecting the lives of the people. Police rescue 130 suspected traffic victims is also another story that you need to know here. The Deputy Kampala Metropolitan Police spokesperson Luke Oesigire said police took action after one of the victims managed to escape from the confinement by jumping over the fence and reporting to the police is what you need. A total of 130 teenage girls are under police protection after they were rescued from confinement at outright cell in Bunamwanya Division, Wakiso District on July 28, 2023. Deputy Kampala Police Metropolitan Police spokesperson Luke Oesigire said police took action after one of the victims managed to escape from the confinement by jumping over the fence and reporting to the police. It is alleged the girls had been confined for over a month and restricted from making any outside contact. Their phones had been confiscated and were not allowed to move out, he noted. The revelation was during the weekly joint security briefing at the police headquarters in Naguru, Kampala yesterday, Monday. Oesigire said they had launched further investigation into the matter. He said so far 2 people have been arrested, Rashid Namubiru and Ramadan Hakim. Preliminary investigation indicated that the girls were allegedly undergoing training for jobs abroad. World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, the development comes hours after the country commemorated World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. It also comes barely a week after the Director of Public Prosecution, Jane Francis Bodo, urged all parties involved in the justice, law and order sector to cooperate with the local community in the battle against human trafficking. She underlined the government's steadfast dedication to stopping trafficking offences by putting in place record-keeping systems and building infrastructure for information exchange to properly handle this urgent issue. Bodo emphasized the significance of improving investigative and prosecution tactics. She made this request at the launch of Uganda's groundbreaking trafficking in persons mobile app platform at the Sheraton Kampala on July 28, 2023. Priorities registered companies in a bid to combat the harrowing crime of human trafficking. The government recently asked individuals to prioritize registered companies when seeking employment abroad. These measures, the government says, aim to protect vulnerable individuals from falling victim to horrific crimes such as forceful organ removal. Recently, the security agencies led by the police indicated that the plight of human trafficking victims has emerged as a pressing global concern, necessitating immediate action. And so we were taught about slave trade in Africa, but let me tell you something, that what we are experiencing as a country right now, we are experiencing what we call the modern slave trade. Even the government is in the know of what is happening, because these people, they don't just escape from the back door of this country, they go through the existing system that we do have. And we continue to pay deaf ears. I think government of the Republic of Uganda is getting good amount of money out of these companies that are really trafficking human beings from Uganda to go and work abroad. And if we continue to have a country where majority of the young people tend to leave the country to go and work abroad, and this speaks volume to the government in power, why can't we sit down and harmonize on this? And we have to see that we don't lose young people in the name of going to work abroad. They're also going to work in a country where we have leadership. So what is that thing that we don't have as a country and we have them outside? And what does it take for a country like Uganda to put up what those young girls and boys are looking outside from the country? It's quite unfortunate. I've known of friends who have left the country, and the stories that they tell us, they're horrific stories. And these people use the gazetted customs that we do have. And Entebbe International Airport is one of the gazetted points that these young people leave Uganda in the name of going to work outside abroad. And you know what happens? These people are made to change their religion. They are forced to behave like they're Muslims, yet they're not. They are forced to dress like the Arabs. And that is modern slavery taking place. And as the Africans, we tend to castigate the Arabs, the white men, for this modern slavery, for this slavery thing, the slave trade we are talking about. But we are being sold by our own blacks, you understand? We are being sold by our own black people. And for me, I don't see a reason why we should really castigate the Arabs, the white men who are involved in this human trafficking. We need to start blaming our own. We are being sold by our own, you understand? And so we have Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. This has really come to the attention of this ministry, I don't know how many times, but I've never seen actions that are being taken to rebuke some of these companies that are recruiting these young girls. And we have had stories, the investigative stories that were done, and somebody had to even go and disguise as a worker and was able to unearth. And the government officials watched the video. And when they were launching this video in Kampala, security surrounded where this video was going to be launched. And the launch did not take place. Little did they know that technology has really gone far ahead. You refuse me to launch, I just go on YouTube and then post. And people watch what is happening. And so if government has goodwill for the people who are citizens of this country that are being trafficked abroad, I would have seen serious actions being done on some of these companies, because it is quite a little bit, unfortunate. I have one of my students who was talking to me that they were already in the camp, and the other time they were trafficked outside this country in the name of going to look for a job. And this is what is happening. And we continue to bury our heads in the sands and we pretend that all is well, yet children, young girls are being humiliated in those countries that they are being trafficked to. It's quite unfortunate. We pray that the Bible that we read and the preaching that we always hear will be able to change our hearts, because I've been taught that when somebody is only educated in the head, the heart is not educated, the person is not complete. And if the hand cannot do what he has been taught to do, then the aspect of holistic education is lacking. Holistic education encompasses educating the head, the heart, and the hands. And when one is detached from the other, then the person is not a complete human being. My name is Dennis Oringi. It's already 10 minutes to the top of the hour of 9 a.m. Allow me to leave the studio as I continue to challenge those that have been entrusted with offices to think about the people that they're serving, not think about themselves. Catch me again tomorrow for the Wednesday edition of the program KOKOLIRIKO Live, as the people of Zombo get to the accountability forum to ask accountability questions to those who hold the offices to provide proper accountability for the resources that they're receiving under their docket, for us to have proper service delivered to the people who are the taxpayers, and they continue to pay taxes, whether through harsh way or through indirect one. Good morning.